Last year, Nikon updated their awkwardly named D3100 3100 to the equally awkwardly named D3200. So it only made sense they would update the D5100 also. There it is. Yeah, and for all you first time buyers, you might want to know that, yeah, bam, it's got scene mode, bush. Don't know why it does that. It's like the flash is saying, oh, you noob. No. And you've got effects filters for that creative style. Night vision, that's useful in the daytime. Miniature effect. Selective color. Silhouette. High key, low key. It's got less filters than Instagram. FFS. All you need to know is that it has a mode dial, one dial for exposure or aperture, a 3-inch 921K LCD screen. More importantly, it's got a hot shoe, a standard hot shoe for all those Sony fans who want to get a little bit excited. And you can use a Wi-Fi function if you add a little thingamajig to this. And a shutter button. Oh, that's a massive fish, isn't it? It looks like a goldfish had sex with an elephant crossover with Swarovski crystal. And that's what happens. So, anyway. But that doesn't really make this camera that new, does it? It just means that this is just a D3200 with a tilty flippy screen. Which means you can do this. He's the boss. Well, this is practically the same body, the same slightly undersized grip. Your hand barely fits on it. It's alright if you've got little tiny kid hands, but it just kind of, you don't know where to put your fingers really. You're kind of pinching it. It's almost like your fingers are smeared with shit and you're just visiting the Queen's house. You don't know what to do. You're just like doing that. Oh no, sorry. There's my knighthood gone. The differences are seemingly subtle. Turn on the camera though and you get this fancy new interface. Look at that. It looks like a video game. No, it looks like control dials from a video game where the video game just involves control dials. That you can see the shutter speed. It's like a shutter speed dial there. And the aperture. Opening, closing. Like a James Bond. Actually, one annoying thing is that there's no sensor here to switch off the screen when you put it up to your eye, because that's got all your information there. You've got that to your eye. Sometimes you kind of see the light coming from underneath. It's bloody annoying. Actually, this does have a quiet mode, which is even quieter. Oh, it's on it. Here we are. Barely makes a noise. Actually, that makes more noise than the non-quiet mode. This is a normal mode. The initial noise is actually quite noisy. That's how they encourage you to get a more expensive camera. So what we're going to do today is to shoot some pictures of a Lambie as usual, but not as you know it. We're going to make it disappear. We're going to shoot Lambie's body and then make it body off, like Face Off. It's a sequel to Face Off. Body off. Body off. Oh, something like that. So we got a Lambie here. She's doing some wicked pose there. She's in some flash dance clothing, like, and some caveman boots there. So What we're going to do is going to take some pictures, and then the surprise will be later in it. For all of you in England who are enjoying the snow, the cold weather, it's 20 degrees here today, and it's going to be 23 later. Now, the D5200 5200, it's got a 24 megapixel sensor, the same megapixel count as a D5200. What Nikon say is a newly designed sensor. How we believe them. Newly designed like the Sony sensors inside their full-frame cameras, I guess.
Alright, Nikon says it's a newly designed sensor, blah blah blah. You get the same resolution, it's as good as the same. Just out of RAW are 14-bit files.
Oh yeah. Harder than it looks, actually.
The key benefit of 14-bit files over 12-bit ones is the ability to recover those highlights and shadows better. Nice, but worth that extra money over the D3200 for a camera that you probably upgrade from later. Nah.
I suppose the 14-bit RAW isn't exactly that much of a bonus. It is for some geeks, me, but I suppose the typical people who buy this wouldn't really care whether it's 12-bit or 14-bit RAW. It does have an improved burst rate, not by much though. It's 5 FPS versus 4 FPS of the D5100, and also the 3200. It's 4 FPS only. This is 5 FPS. Wow.
The slightly improved burst isn't that much more useful for this kind of camera, but I do think that the fact that this has auto exposure bracketing and a D3200 doesn't is one plus that makes it a better option. The 5100 had it though also.
Maybe turn around a bit until it looks more human, yeah.
One area that has been vastly improved though is the auto-focusing system. It has got a much more advanced system in it.
And another benefit of this is that you've got a better auto-focusing system. It's actually the same as the one in the D7000. 39 autofocus points. A lot better than 11 autofocus points of the D3200, I'd say.
The D3200 pales in comparison with only 11 autofocus points in one cross type.
It looks like when the crime scenes, they draw out the dead person.
Thank you.
Oh, you get a lovely video mode. Now you've got the option of 50i or 60i 1080 resolution, which is useful. You've also got a built-in stereo mic, which is on the top there, so both the left and right channels are really close to each other. But anyway, you've got a built-in mic input here, so you can add proper audio recording instruments, and you've also got manual adjustment for your audio input. 20 levels.
None of the other current Nikon DSLRs have the ability to shoot 1080 60i, although some might contend with the fact that the video is merely interlaced.
And the thing with this is that you can't, like some of the cheaper Nikon bodies, you can't change the aperture in live view mode. One thing I wish they would have taken from the D7000 is the switch here for live view and also record. You've got live view and then the movie button. You just kind of finger around. That wasn't a rude thing. Just finger around to find it.
Video quality is decent. You won't see much difference between the video from this and the D3200 though. You should use an external mic if you want to get serious about sound. The internal mic is unsurprisingly mediocre.
Okay, get your shoes off.
Overall, it's a good camera for those who are starting out with DSLRs. The image quality is good enough. All images were shot RAW and converted with an in-camera RAW converter. Noise performance for a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor is really quite good. You can get some decent low light shots up to ISO 6400. You see the transition from usable to bad to worse at ISO 8000 to 10,000, the extended ISO ranges. ISO 25600 is only there to make your mobile phone look good. There's not much bad to say about this camera, although I'm somehow struggling to find any superlatives to describe the benefits of this camera, so I won't bother. Let's face it, the only big improvement is the fact that it has a D7000 auto-focusing system, but maybe you should just get a D7000 then. At least you can auto-focus with some of Nikon's older AF lens with a D7000, and you might find that the D7000 isn't that much more now, and the D3200 is quite a bit less money. It's up to you in the end, but I'm not so sure this will be my choice for a first DSLR.